Rita Sullivan said I'm a lucky woman, and I am.
And I'm a lucky man, Vera.
At 77, Liz Dawn's final words about Coronation Street broke everyone's hearts.
She was an absolute joy. There was always humour, beautiful look in the eye, a very loving and lovable person.
Hard, yeah, of course, but as well, we're the lucky ones that have spent so much time with Liz, and we have all them fond memories.
On September 25th, 2017, in her home in Whitefield, Greater Manchester, Liz Dawn spoke her last words to her husband of 52 years. "You don't know how much I loved you, Don," she told him. "I did from the very first moment we met."
I love you, Jack.
I know. And you know too, don't you?
I do.
Hours later, the woman who'd played Vera Duckworth for 34 years was gone. She was 77 years old, but those final words to her husband weren't the only words that broke hearts.
That's my cream skirt! And my best blouse! I'll kill him!
In the years before her death, Liz had said things about Coronation Street, about leaving the show, and about saying goodbye to Bill Tarmy that revealed a woman who'd given everything to a character she loved, and who paid a terrible price for it. Liz Dawn was born Sylvia Butterfield on November 8, 1939 in Leeds. She grew up on the Holton Moor estate, working class, no money, no connections. When she left school at 16, she worked selling light bulbs in Woolworths. She worked in a tailoring factory. She was a cinema usherette, a shoe sales girl, nothing glamorous about any of it. At 18, she married a miner named Walter Bradley. They had a son, Graham. But by the time Liz turned 21, the marriage had collapsed. She was a single mother in the early 1960s. That wasn't easy. Her escape was singing. In the 1960s, Liz started working as a nightclub singer. She'd perform in smoky clubs around Leeds and Manchester. Long nights, small pay. But she loved it. By the late 1960s, she'd started picking up small acting jobs. A few commercials, background work in television shows. One Cadbury's biscuit advert got her noticed. In 1965, she married Donald Ibbotson, an electrician. They had 3 daughters together, Dawn, Anne, and Julie. Don became her rock, her constant, the man who'd be by her side for the next 52 years. In the 1970s, Liz appeared in small roles on television. All creatures great and small. Colin Wellens played Leeds United, where she played a striker for a ladies' football team. She also had a recurring role in Crown Court, a Granada Studios production. That connection to Granada led to something bigger. In August 1974, Liz was cast in Coronation Street. Just 2 episodes. A factory worker named Vera Duckworth. Nothing special. Another face in the crowd at Mark Britton's warehouse. But the producers saw something. In 1976, they brought her back on a recurring basis. Vera took jobs at Mike Baldwin's clothing factory. She was loud, opinionated, funny without trying to be. In 1979, they introduced her husband, Jack Duckworth, played by Bill Tarmy, and everything changed. Jack and Vera weren't just characters. They became an institution. In 1983, Jack and Vera Duckworth moved into number 9 Coronation Street with their wayward son, Terry. Britton fell in love with them. They bickered constantly. Vera's voice could shatter glass. Jack would rather be at the pub than at home. But underneath all that fighting was something real. Love. Messy, flawed, completely authentic love. Liz stated that the hardest thing about leaving Corey was saying goodbye to Tarmy, with whom she was best friends. Off-screen, Liz and Bill developed a friendship that mirrored their on-screen chemistry. They went on holidays together. They did theater shows. They became family. For over 20 years, they were inseparable. The storylines kept coming. Jack's affair with barmaid Bet Lynch, Terry selling his own baby for money, Jack and Vera buying the Rovers' return and becoming publicans. In the 1990s, the couple took over the Rovers' return and some of the scenes filmed during this time are some of the most memorable as their venture gradually failed. In 1989, Liz was surprised by Michael Aspel on the set of Coronation Street for This Is Your Life. By 1990, she was established as one of the show's most beloved stars. In 2000, she was chosen as Lady Mayoress of Leeds. That same year, she was awarded an MBE for services to charity. She'd helped raise hundreds of thousands of pounds for hospitals in Manchester and Leeds. In 2001, Liz and Bill won the British Soap Award for Best On-Screen Partnership. They were unstoppable. The public adored Jack and Vera, but they had no idea what went into creating those characters. Liz would arrive at Granada Studios at 5 in the morning. Hair and makeup took hours. Vera's trademark curlers, her garish makeup, the costume. Nothing about it was quick. Then there were the lines. Pages and pages of dialogue. Liz had 4 children at home. She'd learned early on to make every spare moment count. On the train from her home, in the car, waiting between takes. She was always studying her script. The schedule was relentless. In the 1990s, Coronation Street aired 3 episodes a week. That meant constant filming, no breaks, no time to rest. If you were in a major storyline, you could be working 6 days a week, 12 to 16-hour days. Liz never complained, not publicly, but those close to her saw the toll it was taking. Her daughter Julie later recalled that there were times her mother would come home so exhausted she could barely speak. She'd sit down, have a cup of tea, and then pull out her script for the next day. That was the reality of life in a soap opera. It wasn't glamorous. It was grueling. But Liz loved Vera. She loved the character's spirit, her fight, the way she never backed down from anyone. Vera was loud, brash, and completely unapologetic. Everything Liz wasn't in real life. Don Ibbotson, her husband, often said that Liz was nothing like Vera. Quiet, gentle, kind. She'd never nag or shout the way Vera did. That was acting, pure and simple. But playing Vera for 34 years meant that people couldn't separate the two. Fans would approach Liz on the street and call her Vera. Some even got angry with her about things Jack had done on the show, as if she had any control over it. In 1998, Liz and Bill were invited to switch on the Blackpool illuminations. Thousands of people turned up to see them. Jack and Vera Duckworth had become bigger than Coronation Street. They were part of British culture, part of the nation's identity, and Liz carried that responsibility with grace. She did charity work, hospital visits, fundraising events. She used her fame to help others, always. That was the kind of person she was. But behind the scenes, something was wrong. Liz had been a heavy smoker her entire life, 30 cigarettes a day for 55 years. She attributed the illness to her own smoking habit and performing in smoke-filled clubs. All those years singing in nightclubs where everyone smoked. All those years on set where smoking was part of Vera's character. It was catching up with her. In March 2004, Liz was diagnosed with emphysema, also known as COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's incurable, progressive. Your lungs stop working properly. Breathing becomes harder. Every breath is a battle. Liz finally gave up smoking after her diagnosis. 55 years of a 30-a-day habit, and she quit cold. But the damage was done. She tried to keep working. She loved Coronation Street. She loved Vera. She loved working with Bill, but it was getting harder. Some days she'd have to sit in her car for 10 minutes before she had the energy to start the engine. Speaking to the mirror, she explained, "I wish I'd left before. It was a bit of a struggle. Some days I would have to sit in the car for about 10 minutes before I had the energy to even start the engine." She later said of life in a soap, "It does take over your life. People don't realize. They think you've had a charmed life. They don't see that you've brought up 4 children and learnt lines on the train." That quote revealed everything about Liz's life. 4 children, a marriage, a home. And somehow, in between all of that, learning lines on trains and buses, filming 12 to 16-hour days, playing a character for 34 years. It wasn't glamorous. It was exhausting. By 2007, her health had deteriorated further. Complications from the emphysema made it impossible to continue. On July 22, 2007, Granada Television announced that Vera Duckworth would be written out of Coronation Street before Christmas. At Liz's request, it was her decision. But it destroyed her. The episode in which her character died peacefully in her sleep in her armchair was seen by more than 12 million viewers. January 18, 2008. Vera Duckworth's final appearance. She'd gone upstairs to bed, wearing her coat and scarf because the house was cold. Jack was downstairs watching television. When he came up to check on her, she was gone. Dead from heart failure in her sleep. Peaceful. Quiet. The way Vera would have wanted it if she'd had a choice. 12.5 million people watched Vera die. It was one of the most watched episodes in Coronation Street's history. And for Liz Dawn, it was heartbreaking. Liz stated that the hardest thing about leaving Corrie was saying goodbye to Tarmay, with whom she was best friends. 34 years of playing Vera. Over 20 years of working alongside Bill every single day, and now it was over. After Vera's death, Bill Tarmay vowed to carry on. But it wasn't the same. Jack without Vera was like tea without sugar. It worked, but something was missing. Bill continued for another 2 years, but in April 2010 he announced he was leaving. His health was declining, and his son Carl had been diagnosed with a brain tumor. Bill needed to be with his family. Granada asked Liz for one final favor. Would she come back for Bill's last episode? Just one scene, just one moment. Liz said yes. She'd do anything for Bill. On November 8, 2010, Jack Duckworth's final episode aired. He'd returned to number 9 Coronation Street after his birthday party at the Rovers. He went home, sat down in his armchair, the same chair where Vera had died. And he closed his eyes. In his final moments, Jack saw a vision. Vera. Dawn appeared as Vera's spirit, who had come to take Jack on his final journey, and the pair enjoyed one final dance together. Younger, smiling, waiting for him. They embraced, they kissed, and then they danced. One last dance before Jack passed away peacefully. "Are you waiting for me, my swamp duck?" Jack asked. It was the last line Bill Tarmay ever spoke as Jack Duckworth, and Liz was there to say goodbye. 11.64 million people watched. Critics called it one of the most moving scenes ever seen in soap opera. After his death, Liz spoke of her heartbreak at losing him, saying, "Bill was my best friend and I loved him dearly. I will never meet anybody so kind and generous." Filming that scene destroyed both of them. Bill later said it was delightful and very moving, but impossible to watch without crying. Liz felt the same way. It wasn't just acting. It was saying goodbye to her best friend, to Jack and Vera, to 31 years of partnership. On November 9, 2012, exactly 2 years and 1 day after Jack Duckworth's on-screen death, Bill Tarmay died of a heart attack while on holiday in Tenerife. He was 71 years old. After his death, Liz spoke of her heartbreak at losing him, saying, "Bill was my best friend and I loved him dearly. I will never meet anybody so kind and generous." After leaving Coronation Street in 2008, Liz's life changed completely. She became a celebrity ambassador for the British Lung Foundation. She raised awareness about COPD and the dangers of smoking. She wanted people to understand what she was going through, to learn from her mistakes. In 2013, Liz revealed her health had deteriorated further. She'd suffered a heart attack. Only a third of her lungs were still working. Doctors told her there was nothing more they could do. Her goal was simple. In a January 2013 interview with the Daily Mirror, Dawn revealed that only a third of her lungs are still working and that doctors have told her there is nothing more they can do to prolong her life. She said that her only goal was being alive this time next year. She became wheelchair-bound. Breathing was a constant struggle. In June 2014, she appeared on The Jeremy Kyle Show to talk about her career and health. She wanted to be honest. Speaking about her deteriorating health on a celebrity version of The Jeremy Kyle Show in 2014, she said, "I take a lot of tablets." In December 2015, Liz came out of retirement for one final television appearance. She came out of retirement in December 2015 to make a one-off guest appearance in the soap Emmerdale as the character Mrs. Winterbottom. It was a small role, but it showed that Liz still had that spark, that love of performing, even when her body was failing. In September 2017, Liz was admitted to hospital in Manchester with severe breathing problems. Nigel Pivaro, who played Terry Duckworth, visited her. Revealing that she was calm and serene in hospital, Nigel talked of the wonderful time they had reminiscing about their days on set. "We spent a wonderful time remembering some of the funnier moments we shared together," he wrote. "I left the hospital naively thinking that she would get better," Nigel said. "I knew she could never recover completely, but I thought she might get back to some sort of normality." But Liz didn't get better. She was released from hospital and went home to Whitefield. Her husband, Don, was by her side. So were her children and grandchildren. On September 25, 2017, Liz Dawn died peacefully at home, surrounded by the people she loved. Before she died, Liz told her husband, "You don't know how much I loved you, Dawn. I did from the very first moment we met." Those were her final words. Not about Coronation Street, not about Vera Duckworth, not about fame or awards or recognition, just love. Simple, pure, honest love for the man who'd stood by her for 52 years. Dawn also revealed that Liz, who played Corey icon Vera Duckworth for 34 years in the ITV soap, was very different to her alter ego. He said, "Liz was once quoted as saying I'd never have put up with her nagging like Jack did on the street, but the truth is, I never had to worry because my Liz wasn't like Vera. She just wasn't cut that way." But Liz had said other things about Coronation Street over the years that revealed the toll it had taken. "I wish I had left before. It was a bit of a struggle." That admission showed the conflict Liz felt. She loved the show, she loved Vera, but she'd stayed too long. Her health had suffered, and she knew it. The hardest thing, she'd said, was saying goodbye to Bill Tarmay, her best friend, the man who'd played her husband for over 30 years. When Bill died in 2012, Liz was heartbroken. "Bill was my best friend, and I loved him dearly. I will never meet anybody so kind and generous." They'd been through everything together. The fame, the awards, the storylines, the health problems. And when Bill died, a part of Liz went with him. On October 6, 2017, Liz's funeral took place at Salford Cathedral. The cast and crew of Coronation Street joined Dawn and Liz's family to pay their respects. Lucy Jo Hudson and her husband, Alan Halsall, whose character Tyrone Dobbs was taken in by Vera on the soap, were pictured arriving. Samaya Gady, who plays Maria Connor, and her husband Sylvain Longchambon were also spotted arriving hand in hand. Kim Marsh, Jenny McAlpine, Helen Worth, and Alison King were also present at the service, as were Anthony Cotton, Ken Morley, Bruce Jones, and Jack P. Shepherd. In her eulogy, Samia paid tribute. Liz was undoubtedly a wonderful, kind, funny, and considerate person, and someone whose generosity knew no bounds. Liz was an incredibly special lady, and her legacy will go on. She touched our lives and made a difference, and for that reason, we are truly grateful for her. Alan added, "Liz could talk to anyone and always treated everyone the same, which was absolutely part of her charm, one of the reasons we loved her all the more." She also had no idea how much she was loved or how funny she was, and she'd have been totally overwhelmed by the outpouring of love these last couple of weeks. This really wouldn't be a tribute to Liz without ending it the way she ended all of her conversations with me and Samia. And that is simply, I love you. That's how Liz ended her conversations. With, I love you. Simple, direct, honest. Just like her. Coronation Street's executive producer, Kieran Roberts, said, Liz Dawn was a true Coronation Street legend, a brilliant actor and a wonderful person. Everyone lucky enough to have worked with Liz during her 34 years, playing Corrie icon Vera Duckworth, will remember her with huge affection. Bill Roach, who'd played Ken Barlow since the show began in 1960, spoke about what Liz meant to Coronation Street. Michael Lavelle, who plays Kevin Webster, said, Liz and Bill were the foundations on which Coronation Street has been built. They had an amazing connection between them as Jack and Vera. For anyone young who joined the show, Liz was the matriarch. She took us under her wing and was the mother figure who helped guide us through the show. She did that for me. She's going to be a big loss to us all. That was Liz's legacy. Not just Vera Duckworth. Not just 34 years of brilliant performances, but the way she treated people, with kindness, with generosity, with love. She was a working-class girl from Leeds who became a national treasure. She raised 4 children while learning lines on trains. She battled emphysema for 13 years. She lost her best friend, and through it all, she remained the same person. Down to earth. Honest. Real. Her final words to her husband were, You don't know how much I loved you, Don. I did from the very first moment we met. That's what mattered to Liz Dawn in the end. Not fame, not awards, not recognition, just love. The love of her husband, her children, her friends, her family at Coronation Street. Vera Duckworth died in her sleep in January 2008. Jack Duckworth died in his armchair in November 2010. And Liz Dawn died peacefully at home in September 2017. 3 deaths, 3 endings. But one legacy that will never die. Because Jack and Vera Duckworth will live forever on Coronation Street, and so will Liz Dawn, the woman who gave everything to play her. So what do you think? Did Liz Dawn stay on Coronation Street too long for her health? Or was her dedication to Vera something to admire? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed learning about Liz Dawn's incredible life and career, hit that subscribe button. We'll be bringing you more untold stories from British television's golden age. Thanks for watching.